James Bond movies are action-adventure movies. If they're real and they feel real, then that makes it fascinating to watch.
So much of the action sequences in this film are shot practically, and they are riveting.
The reality of real humans doing these things, I think, is so much better. I think audiences feel the same way.
It would be so much easier to say, okay, let's put a 3D car here and let's do that. But no, that's not the way we do. That's not what we love to do.
I think for us on a Bond, you know that there's a high risk. When they call action, that's a real person jumping off of the cranes or crashing the car or jumping the motorcycle, which is far more rewarding as a stunt coordinator and a stuntman rather than working in just a green screen environment.
All the stunt guys in the world want to work on a Bond film.
The first thing I start thinking about is how can we make it better? How can we make all the action more spectacular? Cuban Streets is where Bond goes in to extract a character in the film. And it starts in Spectre event where it kicks off.
A lot is going on in that scene. We had Nomi character starting on the roof, ready to kidnap Valdo. She was hoping to drop 30 feet high, catch him, and go back up.
One of the things I was first impressed with in Lashana's, her physicality, her speed, precision of her movements was very impressive.
Every single day they were training me hard, having me on all different weapons, different setups.
I think Paloma is a surprise. I don't think people expecting something like her. Paloma uses 3 different guns. She runs with them, she changes them in action. So I really wanted to get it right and look like I knew what I was doing. I really enjoyed that part.
Bond escapes from the Cuban set in a seaplane and then she takes off and lands next to a, looks like an abandoned trawler. The explosion, we had to be mindful that it was a real trawler. So we had to do it in such a way that we could guarantee we weren't going to damage it. So we did many tests back in Longcross at my base. It was all directional, so we knew exactly where it was going to go. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to spread to any other parts of the boat. When confronted with the fact that we had to sink the boat, we then started to create the rig that could do that. It's my favourite rig on the film, I have to say. I love those mechanical rigs where you program them because it could roll 360 degrees and then lower into the 6-metre deep tank of water. Relax! Daniel and Jeffrey did a great job swimming through it, trying to get out.
The first day that we went down to rehearse and the thing flooded, I just couldn't stop grinning. It was just great fun. You know, you're thinking, wow, we call this work, huh?
Absolutely one of the best rigs I've ever seen. It was for real. We took that under the water and there was an air pocket. Really, really eerie set to be in because you're not only trying to control your breath and think about the action and think about the story, but it's trying to keep calm, but still get that emotion across on camera. Really, really challenging environment, that.
The other chase in the film was totally different to the Matera chase. It starts in Scotland, doubling as Norway. Bond now is driving a Toyota Land Cruiser. Not the fastest of vehicles, but very, very hardy.
And then you see a flash of 2 Range Rover SVRs blast past. And then he's just purely driving on instinct, trying to evade and get away from these guys. We'd have the defenders coming down from high ridgelines, jumping over ledges. We'd have the motorcycles, all vehicles driving across the river multiple times. I was building certain terrains where they're hitting at 50 to 70 miles an hour. And Daniel's in there, you know, basically mixing it up with everybody. You know, bikes riding alongside, banging into the side of him, defenders trying to shove him into the river.
Really spectacular chase and looked fantastic.
For the battle stairs scene, it was when Bond and Nomi are in the lair of Safin. And they get split. In the third act, we're still missing a special moment action-wise for Bond. And then we come up with that battle stair scene, which I'm very proud of.
I felt physically, was I going to be up to it? But actually, we figured it out on this one. We don't have any less action. And if anything, I kind of just do as much as I've ever done.
Daniel and Carrie really wanted a fierce firefight, and it was particularly intense. There were many bullet hits that we embedded into the walls, and Daniel was shooting, there was grenades going off.
On the third shot, grenade's already rolling at that point. He's coming out, sees the grenade, and that's when we're pitching around for that.
It was a really emotional moment for all of us because it's Bond's final battle.
And the end of Daniel's reign as Bond, I wanted to make sure he got sent off in a great way.
Yeah, it was very emotional that day, and I will remember that all my life.